Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines.
All right. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, George. Good evening. Good evening to you, Raji. There's no point having those long introductions. You guys are regular on this program, and we're here again to begin the week. Between the Lines, George, who you?
Well, good afternoon from Toronto, Canada. My name is George Chukwu, and I want to welcome all our viewers from around the world.
Good. Big
Good
Raji,
evening.
how are you?
Good evening, viewers around the world. This is Diraj speaking from Lagos, Nigeria.
Lagos,
Welcome
Nigeria.
to Between the Lines.
You're welcome, man. Welcome, gentlemen. Before we go into dive into the main news today, George, Raji, about 3 weeks ago or so thereabouts, we had that beautiful outing. The Falcon, the female national team, did an impressive turnout and won the championship. Now we also followed Nigerian President Tinubu promised $100,000 each for that good outing. Till now, the girls have not gotten their gift prize, and they're shouting. This morning, the news is that they want to give them the equivalent in Naira, and the girls say no. Raji, let me start with you. What's happening? Why are they not fulfilling the promise of that? I mean, that money, and why are they now trying to do it in Naira?
When was it Constable or Corporal Ajua won the long jump gold in 1996? Was it Commonwealth Games? It was only about 2 months ago, or 3 months ago, that she got what was promised her. There are processes. It's not as if the moment a pronouncement is made, everything will now be put in place to fulfill it. Number two, these girls are actually being what should I say, unrealistic. What currency do we spend in Nigeria? We spend Naira. So if they are going to be giving Naira equivalent of whatever I promised them, they should just accept it and not make a United Nations case out of this.
They just accept it and make yes, we're with you. Because what you're seeing is that outing, the performance, the girls playing, and Raji, you're saying they should just accept the Naira equivalent. George, what's your view on this? First of all, they've not given them the money. Now they are promising to give them in Naira. Anyway, they should just give them the promise. George, what's your view?
The promise was made in dollars. The promise ought to be paid in dollars. Most of these girls don't live in Nigeria. Most of them don't have Nigerian accounts. So if the president mentioned dollars ought to be given to the girls. And that's exactly what it's supposed to be. Why would the president say, I'm going to give you 100 million Naira? Why did he say dollars? So you see the same exact Nigeria happening to these young ladies. When a promise is made, below that promise are the people, the red tapes and the bureaucracies that are taking place. They want to now pay them in Naira equivalents. Naira equivalents can actually make these people to, suck up some of that money. Pay them what the president promised them. Because Naira and dollar, we are floating our Naira now through dollars. So if the president said dollars, pay them dollars. Simple. Give them the money that the president cannot just come and say something and you begin to change it at the back door. It is not correct.
Okay.
If they are insisting, because most of them don't live in Nigeria, and most of them think about it.
Just as simple.
Think about it. If I'm say
Judge,
I'm a soccer player and I'm representing Nigeria, but I live in the UK, and you're going to come and give me that, what am I going to do with it? If you made a promise to me in pound sterling, give me the money that I can spend. Because if these people don't live in Nigeria, and when they are given this amount of money, and then all of a sudden they want to transfer that money into the currency, they lose value. Give them the 100K that was promised in dollars. Simple as that.
Okay. All right, George, we had you very clear. Yes, the promise was made in naira, and that's not in naira.
No, it was
made in dollars, not in naira. Yes, but my own is the full promise should be kept. Whatever currency it will come, let them keep it, because Raji just told us of Ajua, that police officer sprinter, and she's just receiving her promise. After many years, she did that performance, and we've heard of several other artists, all of them have been promised things, they never got it. In fact, some die in poverty and don't achieve.
I want to ask.
There are procedures.
No, yes, I wanted to speak on that, Honorable Raji. I wanted to speak on procedures. I wanted to speak on bureaucracies and red tapes. How long does it take a nation like Nigeria, the federal government of Nigeria, when a president promises something? Does it take a month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, 6 years? Is it that money within? Or are we going to wait until we make money from outside to pay them? When the president was making that promise, was he not making it based on the available resources and funds that are, who is being promised something? What is it? It doesn't happen in any other country that I know of, especially the civilized countries. Why should it happen in Nigeria? And if the president makes a promise, let's facilitate, make a move, and pay these young ladies. Every other excuse that is being given is Nigeria happening to them, and we need to stop it.
Strong talk, George. George, also, what about this? What about this, gentlemen? What about the presidency? Whenever this occurrence, they don't get rushed. They don't rush to make promises. They don't quickly, out of excitement and anxiety, and they just boom, and they don't keep the promises. While they're thinking about what to really do and do it for sure. Raji, we aren't too rushed to say something and we don't keep to it. Why do we now say it? The Bible even talks about don't let your mouth be fast at making promises if you can keep them. So Raji, what do you say about that? Presidency, keep it quiet in time and think over it.
There are procedures after an announcement has been made by the president. Not as if everything will be rushed. So let them go through the procedure. If the procedure is getting too slow, then we should talk to that.
Okay.
The procedure is getting too slow.
If you remember when this promise, we were talking about this on this channel. You remember, Raji, you were the one who raised this particular situation about somebody taking them many years. And we said to them, shout if you're not receiving your money. Shout.
And probably that is what they heard, George. That is what they heard. You'll be surprised. That was what they heard.
We said it, and they are now shouting, and they are refusing and taking the president by his own words. Okay? But unless the president, listen, if you are in a stadium and then all of a sudden these people won and the president stood up immediately right there during the interview out of excitement and pronounced something. No, it took time. The president already pre-planned what he was going to give these young ladies. He did not do it in naira, he did it in dollars. And therefore, I believe that if these people want to do things the normal way, it would not take more than a month or 2 months, 60 days at most for these young ladies to receive their money. I believe that. We are in a developed country. We know how things work here, unless we're going to live in our primitive ways and begin to give excuses for incompetency. If not, let the money be released to these young ladies in what the president of the United States of Nigeria, Federal Republic of Nigeria, said. He said the words.
All right, George. Thank you, George. George, you've helped the girls also to add to the shout. And you actually said that from the beginning. They should shout. Let's go ahead.
However, with all these things, we should mind the words we use to describe our country. We are not living in a primitive environment. No.
Let's stop acting like it. Simple. Let's stop.
What has happened that we are becoming primitive? What has happened? The process is still ongoing. The promise was made about 2 months ago. And so what's the problem?
Okay, the man that just used
so what is happening is that the girls are shouting out and they are refusing to collect the money in naira. Let's see what develops out of that. By the next 2-3 weeks, we know what is happening.
Okay, let's see what let's see what develops out of that. I'm also happy to tell you guys that my sister, my cousin, is one of the girls. Okay, so we're following all the story. Yes, yes.
You're after your 10% or something.
No.
The man that was just paid 3 weeks ago, you mentioned. Is that the normal thing that we're supposed to be expecting?
It is 30 years after. It is unfair.
Is that what we are supposed to be expecting?
So I have nothing against the girls shouting now, because it is for them to shout. I know the promise that they made to Okwaraji when he died on the field. I don't think that his people ever got any promise. The promise fulfilled to them. The mother might have been dead by now.
Yes.
So many people who have done things for the country. So let us be, however, let us be careful about using primitive words as civilized words, because we are in a civilized environment here in Nigeria.
Well, let's act like it.
All right, gentlemen. Let's act like it. One party that's acting like it in winning, in terms of winning, is APC. Gentlemen, APC is rejoicing at all corners because they were able to sweep 12 constituencies in the by-election we just heard. Viewers, let's explain that to you. The by-election is election that comes off-season, and most times it's done because there are vacancies in the legislative seats. So this by-election happened during the weekend, and APC took almost all the empty seats. The by-election could come as a result of death in some offices, somebody, a sitting member dying, or resignation, or election that was nullified, and all of that. George, Tinubu and APC are rejoicing. They swept all the constituents, 12 of them. They say, let's hear your take. Then Raju, give us.
My take is that APC swept majority of the by-election across 12 states, winning 12 seats, while PDP, NNP, and APGA picked up 1 or 2 each. But the question is, the new opposition coalition, ADC, your party, tried our foul, alleging vote buying, ballot snatching, and intimidation. Which actually took place because there are pictures and everything that is showing. The PDP made gains in Oyo and Adamawa, NNPP holding Kanu and Abga, clinching Anambra with our guy there, the governor. APC hails the outcome as a big endorsement for Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. The question I gotta ask is this: yes, I'm APC, but if the people are publicly crying out that they are not feeling this government's renewed hope agenda, why is it that they are rushing to vote them in? Because if you go to Kaduna and Ogun, APC candidates won by wide margins. sparkling celebration.
Yeah.
PDP in Edo, Jigawa, and Adamawa rejected results, accusing INEC of bias and security compromise. Okay, shocking. Watch this. Shocking twist in Ogun. INEC officials caught one with 2.5 million naira cash, allegedly
Yeah.
for political
Yeah.
solutions. So
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
where there is, where there is no smoke without fire. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe Raji can tell us a little bit more. Look at that kind of money there. Okay, so the Zamfara INEC declared a race inconclusive due to irregularities by the election. But the by-election are seen as a dress rehearsal for 2027. That means that in 2027 they're going to win the whole nation again, with both ruling parties and opposition in beginning. So as Nigeria braces
Mm-hmm.
2027, the clash of ballots and bullets in these elections show democracy is still on trial in our country today. That's what we're facing,
Yeah.
my brother. That's
That's
what
what
we're
we're
facing.
facing. So the talk now is gentlemen, the talk now is, yes, there were so many irregularities, there were a lot of money exchanging hands. Like you just saw that money, that one there is a car that was stopped, and they found all of those money there. So there was violence. People, PDP and ADC are saying that the election should be cancelled, mostly in Kano, like you said, George. Now, Raji, tell us, how was it in Lagos, and how do you view that whole by-election thing?
I would like to talk to the amount of money that was being displayed. I've been involved
Okay.
in elections before.
Yes.
That you found a lot of money in somebody's booth does not necessarily mean that it's being used to pay to do vote buying. So I don't see how the police could have seen the intent of the people who are carrying the money to now suspect that they are going to be used for vote buying. It may be money that they need to use to pay their agents at the polling units. It may be money for something else. Do not just arrest people on foot of intent. Meanwhile, I saw with my two eyes video that was being displayed about the elections in Kano, where the people were actually on a queue. They get to the man who is distributing money with the police watching them. They will take the money before they go and vote. No, security were looking at, seeing them at the polling unit. Meanwhile, this guy they caught in was it Ogun or something? They are supposed to be PDP people, and you stop them, you arrest them because they have money in their boot, which you suspect to be money that they intend to use for vote buying. How do you arrest somebody for intention when it is not an act that is in view? Meanwhile, an act that was being committed at the Kano polling units, where the guy in the red cap was distributing money to voters. Security people were looking at were watching him do it. He was not arrested. Is it because he is a member of the party that is in government in that state, and then the guys in Ogun State is because they are PDP and they are not APC people? So all these things come to him. Well, I didn't hear about any violence, so I cannot speak to that. But these are the two instances I saw that I felt concerned. Yes.
Anyway, if I can give a little bit of because this thing has been happening, whether with APC, NNPP, or ADC, is a new party that is just coming in right now. But one thing that we need to do in order to strengthen our INEC procedures and processes in everything that is going on, I believe that we need to deploy a real-time electronic transmission of results and enforce stiffer penalties for electoral malpractices. Because I mean, come on, why are we going to keep on crying and crying? Whether it's APC, whether it's PDP, whether it's any other political party, what we need is a clean, straightforward election. Okay, tighten security at polling units and train and deploy neutral security forces to prevent thuggery, intimidation, and vote buying. Like you just said, when we're using our local police, these people are so hungry that anything you give them, they will just, turn their faces the other way. Empower civil society and media watchdogs to monitor, report, and expose irregularities in real time. Don't wait till tomorrow. Report it immediately. Promote political accountabilities. Parties must be disciplined members caught in corruption or violence, and build voter trust through transparent auditing of electoral system like beavers, and ensuring glitches aren't used as a cover for manipulation. These are the ways we can make Nigerian political system to be a little cleaner and more transparent. We need to sanitize it in order that the elections can come. We don't say that, even in developed countries, there are no irregularities. But if it's like 2% or 3%, it's okay. But when it becomes like, the ruling party can go and hijack everything and use glitches as an excuse to manipulate the election, that is unacceptable and it intolerable and should stop.
Thank you, George. George, strong one. But Raji, let me say this straight up because viewers are also watching. Viewers were tuned into this beginning of the week program, SSM Between the Lines. Now, the news of suspected vote buyers with that cash you saw is not alleged. It was caught in the act. So let's get it right that nobody wants to just implicate anybody. It's not about implicating anybody. I mean, how do you come to a point booth where people are voting with cash? I mean, what else? How do you want to explain that, right?
These people were not caught. They were not caught at the polling unit. They were not calling. They were not caught.
No, the one in Kaduna,
at the polling station.
Kaduna was intercepted. Kaduna State was intercepted in the process of trying to buy a vote with 26 million. That's Kaduna. So I don't know. We got the information directly from the news source, and that was what it said. It wasn't an implication. It was caught right there at the booth, 26 million naira, and I mean that's it. So let's move on, Jen. Let's move on. Let's move to some other stories again as we continue. George, I know the heat is still raging in. It's still raging there. Is the heat still burning? The heat is burning here in Europe. How is the weather there?
Actually, the weather here is beautiful. As a matter of fact, this morning it was so chilly I have to wear a jacket. But in the afternoon, it's so warm, so beautiful. Just that perfect weather of 25 degrees. It is incredible. And I really thank God for that because we have suffered for several weeks. This is an unprecedented type of weather that we have in Canada here. Almost a month plus. Constant heat above 30. It was so bad.
Europe is doing more than 42 and it's been burning. I mean, blazing everywhere. Heat, making people very uncomfortable. And in fact, we had one death in Italy. The boy died out of that heat. We don't know how it happened, but they say a boy died. Gentlemen, let's come to some news before we go on the break. It is Between the Lines. Let's talk about IBB 84. IBB is one-time Nigerian president, and he's 84 years today. Leaders were turning out to exalt him, and rejoice with him. Gentlemen, do you know IBB is 84 today? Raji, what will you say to IBB 84?
Well, there are something that I wish had never happened to Nigeria. One of the worst things that ever happened to Nigeria was Babangida coming into power. He distorted the whole country entirely. We are suffering his distortion up to today. But he's alive. Happy birthday to him, whatever that means.
Somehow I don't agree with that, but I won't also argue. Today is his birthday, so let's not do. Okay, John, what will you say to
You asked for my opinion, so why you don't have to agree with my opinion. Say yours.
That's correct.
Yes.
George.
Well, we had that the former president. We had that the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. When I was hailing General Ibrahim Babangida as one of the Nigeria's finest leaders during a visit, to mark his 84th birthday.
84.
Jonathan praised the former military ruler, that's the key word, military ruler, for his commitment to national unity, saying his Mina home remains a Mecca. I guess many people go there to eat. For many Nigerians, he prayed for a long life and strengthen IBB to continue monitoring or mentoring young generations. But anyway, the point about it is this. I mean, what you were saying is the truth. While Jonathan's praise highlights IBB's role in promoting unity and mentioning younger leaders or mentoring them, it is also underscores the irony of history. Because I remember, what happened during that military rule, that a man once known for seizing power through coup is today celebrated as a statesman and a symbol of national cohesion. It shows how time often reshapes legacies in Nigeria political journey. So, the truth of the matter is, whether we like it or not, there is history that trails him. And there are things that he did to this country, like Raji said, that still trails that man. It was during his era that corruption became the name of the game in Nigeria. 419 was the name of the game. They were even using Aso Rock to bring people to come and bring to make money, and he was allowing it. So I don't think that just simply because he turned over the government to the civilian rule or whatever the case might be, that today we're going to be hailing him and forgot how he plunged Nigeria into a corrupt state. Unfortunately, I am sorry. Happy birthday, sir. But history will not serve you completely 100% right with us.
One fact is known. IBB is a nationalist. IBB believe in united Nigeria. That's a fact, gentlemen. He believed in that landscape called Nigeria. He's not a sectional leader. In fact, his family, as you both know, you can see he's married to Southeastern, South woman, and he's like that. That's how he is. He's actually a close person to me too, and I studied him a little, and I see some form of dynamism in him. Now, take note that yes, during his tenure, some things could have gone wrong, but most times it might not be directly his own coming from him. You could be at the top and people under you will be doing their thing, setting your administration up. So, but that's how it is. Anyway, IBB 84, happy birthday to you, sir.
Happy birthday, sir.
We celebrate you. Thank you. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's take a glass of water. Let's come back a few minutes time. Viewers, you're tuning to Monday News Startup Between the Lines, and we're here, George in Toronto, Canada, Raji in Lagos, Nigeria, myself in Milan, Italy. See you.
In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in diaspora and at home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa. Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines.
All right, gentlemen, you're welcome back to the lines. Today, the 18th of August, 2025. George, Raji, there's something happening in Africa, and it is now being more pronounced in Nigeria. Chinese are bringing good ideas anyway. They're bringing initiatives. They are helping states, communities, and I mean, we saw lately Bauchi Governor Mohammed signing a landmark MOU with a Chinese firm, and he appointed the Chinese national as the economic planner for that state, Bauchi State. Gentlemen, let's look at it from both ends. Is it good thing that other people are coming to plan for us, arrange our country, our state, or is this good that we are looking towards development, regardless of who brings it in? Achi, what do you say about Bauchi State and China coming in?
Well, it's okay for Chinese to come in with their resources and their expertise and technology and things, but I still think that is stretching it too far, appointing the Chinese officially as your financial advisor. He could be in the background doing the advice, but not a principal, like almost like a commissioner of finance or something. No, I don't think it's a shame, because I'm sure Bauchi State have sufficient people to take over that position. Not by no, I don't think it's a good step. I don't think so.
Okay. Viewers, Bauchi State is not east of Nigeria, and it's a beautiful state. I've been there a couple of times. George, if there are no personnel, indigenous men and women that can help bring development, is it not a bad idea if we go source help from elsewhere?
We can collaborate with other nationalities to help us. After all, there has been history about Nigerians or being appointed as leaders in different parts of the world or helping with the economic or in the medical industry. The point is this. Before we move forward in doing anything with any country, we need to study history. We need to go back and research, those countries, if they have done similar things with other countries, how did it end up? Because most of the time, we have seen it happen that many African countries today are basically subservient to China simply because they were unable to understand and also to accommodate the requirements that are given to them. So they are unable to pay. All of a sudden, the national, the revenue that comes into that country is divided. China will take their own first before the rest go to maintain the land where they are. So what I'm saying is this: I applaud him for thinking outside the box. But did he do his what you call due diligence? Did he study to understand these people that are coming to you? Is there a hidden agenda? Are they just coming to help you because they want to stay there with you and then continue to do good with your place? Or is it when you sign something with them, are you signing away your state? Are you signing away your life? We understand, that Bauchi State, basically, they have a lot of people. But what I could have done as a governor, I would have allowed the man to be one of the advisors, but not openly and publicly, signing an MOU, which can actually, all the resources in that state can automatically become that of the Chinese people if they do not understand. No, seriously, think about it. It's happened in many countries. Go and do your study and see what happened to a lot of nations. Their train stations, their airports, railways, all these things are now owned by Chinese people. And they demand you pay them first before you pay anybody else in the country. So that is my own thing there. Partnership targets agriculture, education, healthcare, mining, oil and gas manufacturing and trade. And this is part of the reason why you see a lot of these Chinese people bringing private jets in certain areas, taking some of our minerals and taking it outside of the country. and nothing can be done about it because you signed an MOU that might have put your whole state in danger. So all I'm saying is we applaud you. We applaud you, Bola Mohammed. But please ensure that you're not standing your state away, where tomorrow there will become a problem between Chinese people and Nigerians. Thank you. What do you think, Raji?
The Chinese are just now becoming more capitalistic, because I remember their relationship with Ghana in those days was so mutually beneficial that, but for the Chinese presence in Ghana, there wouldn't have been the Akosombo project. Now the Water River project, the artificial lake that was built out of that river project is arguably the largest man-made water reservoir in the whole world. And the amount of things that happen in that place, fisheries and things, is unimaginable. And the Akosombo Dam is one of the most efficient. Akosombo hydroelectric project is one of the most efficient hydroelectric projects in the whole of West Africa, if not the whole of Africa. Yes.
Very fun. And something else, that this man called Li Shengen pledged China's support to bring modern infrastructure, global resources, and sustainable growth to the state. Now, somebody once said that Bauchi is no longer just a state in Nigeria. It's now positioning itself as a rising hub for international corporations. But the question still rises, was there a due diligence done, in order to ensure that this is not going to cause problems? Here's a closing wrap, in my own opinion, actually. As Nigerians deepen, our ties with Beijing, okay, Bauchi bold move signals how states can ride on China. Just African partnership to unlock investments and jobs and global visibility, showing that development is no longer just Abuja's business, but also of states. Now, all I'm saying, before you put your hand on that paper, signing those MOUs, ensure that you have done your, studies, done your due diligence in understanding the way they do business, because there are communists in their country, but when they come outside, they know how to be capitalistic to the highest, hub. And listen to this, Raj. I think it was you that mentioned one time the abuse that a lot of Nigerian employees are, having, with these people. They were being abused, they were being, treated like animals. And that
Yes.
cannot be allowed or tolerated in a country like Nigeria. It cannot be. So there must be watchdogs who are checking out some of these companies that are coming into Nigeria and using our citizens as slaves. So these are
Yes.
things that they need to check, because if they don't, it becomes an issue. So
Yes.
that's my take on that one.
I,
So
I agree. I agree with you. Can we go on with the discussion and talk about Putin and Trump's meeting in Alaska? Seems as if
yeah,
now
yes. So anyway, I mean,
under the
last week
table.
we saw what happened. Last week with the Trump, where Trump met with Putin in Alaska, and the man was so giddy when Putin landed from came out from the plane. He was so happy and so. But one thing about it is this: we discussed this last week, where we knew. We say, what are we expecting? We were expecting nothing, because everybody's having their own expectations about what's going to happen during the meeting. But one thing that I said, and I think you mentioned something else also, was that nothing is going to come out of this meeting, because number one, Putin wanted to showcase that I'm not in prison in Russia. I can come out and I am in American land, and I can sit in with the president of America discussing issues that concern the world and concern Ukraine and Russia. Putin got everything he wanted. Trump got absolutely nothing, because there is no way Trump being involved. Putin does not bow to any American president, because he feels like Putin, he is in control. He is the world leader when it comes to the BRICS. So there is an alternative way of thinking. Now you can have UN, you can have all NATO, you can have all those, but there is BRICS, and Putin is the head man there. He is actually the man that controls it. So what I'm thinking is this: Trump might be bringing, just twisting the narratives as if, everything. We had a very important discussion, it was, but Putin ain't going to bow to nobody. And that is something we need to understand. And when Trump understands this, he needs a strong hand if he wants the war to stop. If he wants the war to stop, he needs to have a strong hand, or maybe extricate himself from the narratives and allow, a neutral body, to head these things. What do you think, Raji?
Yeah, you see, I do not think that Putin is afraid of anybody, and I do not think that the ICC, whatever ICC judgment is on him, can be enforced, because even a corporal in the U.S. Army is not answerable to ICC judgment. How much more the whole president of Russia? So it is actually a delusion for anybody to think that Putin is afraid of leaving Russia, or afraid of being arrested anywhere else. Now, going forward, I have said that, you see, Trump is only interested in anything that will justify his being given the Nobel Prize for Peace, and he's ready to throw Zelensky and
Under the
Ukraine under the bus. Now, as far as Russia is concerned, Russia, I don't think, is interested in territorial spread. Russia has gotten Crimea. It has gotten a warm port. That's all it needs. And Russia is not going to expand beyond that.
Sorry for that, gentlemen. Sorry for that. The network still has. Yes, the network still has. Go ahead.
All that we need to ensure is that when they are sitting at any table over Ukraine, the agenda will be for peace. As long as the agenda is for peace, I'm sure there will be peace in between Russia and Ukraine. And I like you mentioned, I think it's now time for a neutral body to be involved, rather than Trump being the face of the negotiation. Yes.
That's it. Yeah, we were just discussing, what happened last week with Trump, and a follow-up of what we discussed here last week on Friday.
Yes, very good one, Raji. What you just said makes sense. For me, that whole thing was just United States building up, renewing their relationship with Russia. It had nothing to do with Ukraine, because even while the meeting was going on, you had some more missiles being thrown into the corners of Ukraine from Russia. So Trump just renewed his relationship with Putin, and it was a very nice renewal. All the car sitting together and everything working. It just showed some friendship. So, but I also think it's a waste of time and waste of money, resources, and so much, and putting people at the edge, because what people thought wasn't what they saw. So that's my small view on that, George. So we have FNA putting on the comments here. I think that was when we were talking about Nigeria and politicians. The laundering of past politicians and Nigerian money is 5 and 6. We have Atiku trying to come into ADC, but in 2023 he was instrumental in destroying their transparent presidential primaries. Wow, that's a strong one from that writer there. Okay, that's a strong one. Yes, gentlemen. So let's look at something before we wrap it up. Also, there is something they've observed. They've observed that there is a kind of map reader they've been using in the world since 1963 that has actually reduced the true size of Africa. Raji, I know you like to talk about these kind of things. So now it's been noted that that machine should be stopped from being used because it doesn't show the true size of Africa. I think that machine is called Mercator map. It's a kind of map reader that helps people, and they say they've been using this in the 16th century to read the African map. So, gentlemen, is it a deliberate thing to want to shrink Africa? Is it something? Okay, Raji, tell us.
It is deliberate. You know, recently they were talking that Africa is overpopulated.
Okay.
And then I asked a friend of mine who was insisting on it. I said, look, let's look at it. What is the total area of Africa? What is our total population? The total population of Africa is not up to that of India. Not up to that of India, and that is the whole of Africa. So how is Africa overpopulated? And our land mass is more than the land mass of Russia, of China, of India, and of the United States. And these are easily the three most populous countries of the world. Russia is about the largest land mass, right? But that you can fit two Russia in Africa. And the population of Africa is less than that of India. And you can fit like 5 India in Africa. So how's Africa? So it was all deliberate. When you look at the size of Greenland, you think that Greenland was about half the size of Africa. Meanwhile, Greenland is maybe a tenth of the size of Africa. So it was all deliberate distortion of the whole thing. And I was surprised that most Africans took it as gospel truth and use it as the basis of their argument when they are speaking about population control in Africa.
It is true. It is true. It was done deliberately, and this is part of that way of trying to make us look less than what we are. But thankfully, technology is coming up to make the last to be the first. And that's where we're headed, whether we like it or not. You know, the AU, has officially backed the correct the map campaign, calling for a global shift from the outdated Mercator projection to the more accurate equal Earth map. Okay. For centuries, the Mercator map was, made Greenland look so massive while shrinking Africa and distorting how the world sees the continent. When you think about it, when you think about the size of Africa and you think about the population, 1.5 billion people, there's no way in the next, in the next 500 years to 1,000 years, Africa will not be overpopulated. It's not possible. It is practically impossible because we have a lot of land, unoccupied land in that place. But you see, they intentionally shrunk the map of Africa to make it look small compared to others. But thankfully, because of technology, because of where we are today, the last is becoming the first, whether we like it or not. They cannot help it anymore because what they have invented, what they have actually produced right now is exposing all the lies that they have actually told about us. Advocates like Africa No Filter and Speak Up Africa stress the impact of young Africans, urging schools, governments, and even the UN and the World Bank to adopt the true scale of Africa. This move is very important because it tells the true story rather than, other people trying to project their own image over us. So we are thankful that this is really happening right now.
Yes.
Very, very thankful.
So that this is more like reclaiming Africa's rightful place on the global stage.
Oh, it's coming.
Yes, because with that, a lot of things also follows. Good one, gentlemen. Thank you. Let's round up with the sad news coming from Sokoto. Sokoto State is also north of Nigeria, not Nigeria. Now, during the week, there was that very sad news. 40 people missing, 10 people have been rescued in a boat accident in Sokoto State. Gentlemen, when you hear this kind of story, you wonder because the water in Sokoto I know it's not the Atlantic Ocean. It's just a river, So you wonder how people can still cope with river flow. I mean, if it was like an Atlantic Ocean or the Mediterranean or the Baltic and all these heavy thick sea, we would say okay. So, but sadly, this is what happened. Raji, tell us. Sokoto had this.
You'll be surprised at the depth of some of these rivers in the desert areas, especially when there are sudden uh, flash floods.
Okay.
You'll be surprised. Sokoto is where you normally do this fishing festival.
Yes.
So it's seasonal. The river level is seasonal. And this time we are in the rainy season. There have been floods in Kano. There have been floods across some of the northern parts. So it's not surprising. It's just that when you are in a boat, most of these boats are quite rickety and also tend to be overloaded because there are too many people seeking resources seeking transport from very limited resources. Because the river is seasonal, probably the boat is even not regularly serviced. So the times when you now put it into service, you find out that there are some things you could have done while it was fallow that you didn't do, and therefore it causes so much death. Yes.
Wow.
Our condolences to the families who lost so many people in that. Over 40 people are supposedly missing.
Raji, thank you for that. Raji, you know that story so well. Thank you. Yeah, George, is there any?
I mean, it's a very, very sad story. Our condolences to the families that lost 40 out of 50 people. Only about 10 people were actually rescued when they were going from Sokoto to the busy Goronyo market. And these are just regular people trying to make a living or maybe move from one area to another. But it begs the question: why is it that the government cannot actually mandate that most of these boats that are carrying lives from across the boat must be checked to see whether they are seaworthy? Because like what Raj said, these dilapidated boats that are carrying people, a smallest type of wave that will come will just capsize the whole entire thing and lives are lost. This is like this just happened a few weeks after the same mishap that happened in Niger State. So are we just going to sit back and allow people to just continue to use whatever structure that they have to transport people from one area to another? I believe that government needs to get involved and ensure the safety of the people, and that those boats that are carrying people across are seaworthy. So 40 people died, 40 people are missing. That's generations of people. As a matter of fact, moms are involved, dads are involved, children might be involved, traders might be involved. This ought not to happen. There should be a regulation to limit the frequent occurrences of these things.
Thank you, George. So that's the map of Sokoto there.
Once again.
That's the map of Sokoto for those that are watching north of Nigeria, sad events during the weekend. All right, gentlemen, we need to go. We've done our thing. Thank you, Raji, George.
What about NDELA? What about the drugs that we have found? You don't want to talk about the drug for 5 minutes?
Let's talk about that. Yes. Come on, tell us. Crazy story there. Big chunk of loads of consignment of drug. George, what was that? Yes.
No, we're going to hail the NDLEA. I mean, it's a breakthrough in drug war in Nigeria. They arrested a notorious kingpin, Sunday Ibigide, or that's his name. After a 3-year manhunt, yes, the agency also intercepted opioids worth about 7.8 billion naira at one point in Rivers and destroyed nearly 49,000 kilograms of cannabis nationwide. NDLA
Yes.
boss Buba Mawa says he is cracking down. His crackdown shows the fight against drug and drug abuse is in full force. But listen to this, though. Listen to this. Do you know that
Yes.
many countries like Jamaica right now, and
Mhm.
Canada, and some other countries, their GDP is involved in marijuana. So
You
if you
see?
come to Canada today and want to buy marijuana, you're of age, you can go to the store and buy it. And every
Yeah,
drug
the
you
Thank you.
buy,
medicinal.
taxes go to the federal government. So what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, isn't it about time for us to wake up? Seriously? I'm just asking a question because oil is dwindling. Isn't that another way? Even if we don't have to use it in
I agree
Nigeria,
with
once they
you. I agree with
can,
you, Sir George. I agree with you perfectly, especially on that cannabis thing.
yes,
Recently, about 6 months ago, 40 hectares of cannabis plantation was destroyed was destroyed in Ondo State. 40
see,
hectares. Look, 40 hectares of is something that the government should, instead of destroying it, should actually harness it and produce the a liter 10 milliliter of cannabis oil is very, very expensive. And cannabis, banning cannabis, declaring cannabis as illegal thing was actually not supported by any scientific things. It was done to protect the tobacco company.
Hmm.
There was nothing wrong with cannabis
Hmm.
because there are so
Hmm.
many things you can get, derivatives you can get from cannabis that are that far outweigh whatever danger you could get from it.
but do
If
you
you
know
control it, now
Mhm.
is the time. Sorry, now is the time for the government to actually control it, and they actually be interested in farming it and making it a very good product,
but
as
listen
you
to this
mentioned
though.
for GDP. Yes.
Do you know that a lot of people actually legally, before it was even declared, to be a legal drug here,
Substance.
a substance, a lot of doctors were prescribing it for emotionally troubled people, and it was
People,
calming
yes.
them down. So right now, Canada is racking up in billions of dollars because it's now being sold, taxes are being paid, and
Mhm.
and people, listen to this. The fact of the matter is, whether you like it or not, they're going to use it. People will plant it beside their houses. People will plant it behind at their backyards. People will sell it, and people that are using it will use it. So
Mhm.
why not legalize it and make it a substance that you can make money out of?
You
Why
can
not?
Simple.
control.
We've
For
said this.
the
We've
government to
said
be
this
able to
time.
control. Yes.
We've said this time and time again, and nobody's listening. So sometimes we don't say it. But I'm happy you guys are saying it. It's
Yeah. So
2-3 words statements.
I'll
Mhm.
just add a sentence.
Okay.
How many people are smoking ganja that a person will now go and cultivate 40 hectares? Is it for the whole country? So there's something else that is getting from that cultivation that is not just for street people. No.
Okay. Quite finally, I have a friend. The son actually, suffers from epileptic seizure. Yeah.
Epilepsy.
And it was that oil that they gave to this young man, and he was able to start eating again. He was able to now normalize his appetite, and he's living a normal life. So
Hmm.
there are so medicinal values to these things that we are blindly closing the door to an opportunity that can help the nation and help the people.
This goes
Alcohol,
to.
alcohol is more dangerous than marijuana if you do the studies.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, gentlemen, between the line, this is actually some of those things that we should be talking about. Off the radar talk. I mean, out of the box talk, like some people will say. And what you guys are doing, some people might say, maybe they don't understand what I said, but it's good. You can't be living in the stereotype boxed life when there are solutions outside there. So let's come on this some other time. Similar talk is on technology and the Yahoo boys in Nigeria. Instead of grabbing them and throwing them into prison, these boys will become a forward of
educate these young men. Let's
use them
educate
in
these young men.
building.
Take them,
Yes,
educate them,
and
take them through classes.
yes.
And as a matter of fact, you can build a world-class industry where US,
yes,
Canada, Australia
exactly.
will be going
Absolutely.
back to Nigeria. We
Absolutely.
need young boys.
We need to think all of this. Oh yeah, let's come.
Sorry, Sir Mark. Sir Mark, you just touched on something. Last week,
yes.
Judge of the Federal High Court mentioned that look, EFCC should focus on federal people who are stealing government money and leave Yahoo boys alone, because they are devoting all their efforts on so-called Yahoo boys. If they see somebody, they will last week they went to raid Obasanjo's hotel and arrested so many people doing things that the EFCC does not even have a clue about, and they branded them Yahoo boys. Yes. Let the EFCC go after those who are stealing government money.
We'll come talk about some of these off-key discussion. I'll put it. So, gentlemen, I want to thank you. You have the audacity to start up something, say things that probably many people won't agree with, but you've said your own. Thank you very much. So let's go home. We'll be back Wednesday again on our Friday update. Viewers, thank you. Sorry for the small hic there, but we're good to go. Thank you, Raji. Thank you, George. Right. Until we come again, have a great new week. God bless you.
Yes. In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.